I'm talking to a group of, in a corporate setting. I'm thinking wellness program, and to talk to roughly about 40 to 60-year-olds. And what I'm trying to do is maybe come in and do like a 6-week training or an online training. It doesn't have to be in-house, but something I can do online, maybe similar to what some other people are doing here. And get some coaching business as well, so private coaching. Did I tell you everything?
Women, men?
Oh, you know, it actually does. I haven't decided. Alzheimer's actually affects more women than men. But I think it's applicable to everybody because in this sandwich generation, this 40 to 60, there's a lot of caregiving coming from these workers. And so I think there's this tendency to say, man, if my mom or dad has Alzheimer's, it might be me too, you know.
So just so you know, I am your audience. And you said you haven't decided on the coaching client, on the...
No, I do want coaching. Oh, as far as the men or women?
Yeah, like who's your ideal client? Who's this for?
My ideal client is, that's a good question.
Okay, well, so I don't want to pull you off, so just... We'll
I'm still trying to figure, I'm
Okay.
still trying to hone that.
Perfect.
My target audience. Yeah, I'm really trying to still hone that. It's me. So if I said, okay, and I know we have to get in that lane, and I'm just not in that who's my ideal audience lane yet.
You're not the only one.
So, and I know it's not everybody, so I know that's good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want to pull
It's
you off.
not the whole ocean. Anyway, is that it? That's it? Okay, we're good? All right.
We're rolling.
And Kevin, can you just read that real quick?
Yep.
Okay. My intro,
Yes.
because it needed work last time.
Our speaker today is on a mission to help you learn how to improve and protect your brain from Alzheimer's disease and live a memorable, healthy life. Judy S has been helping and inspiring individuals to achieve their health goals for over 15 years as a health and lifestyle coach. She reminds people there is only you, so make the investment in your health now. It is non-negotiable. Judy also created a wellness program for a division of a Fortune 100 company. When Judy is not coaching or speaking to groups, she enjoys long hikes to mountaintops or lakes, dancing in the kitchen while cooking and listening to Pearl Jam, or yes, even JT. Or planning her next Where's Judy adventure. Please join me in welcoming Judy S.
Remember the time you went over to your refrigerator or your pantry because you needed something? You walk over, you look inside, and your mind goes blank. Yeah, what was it? What was it that I needed? I walked over here for a reason. And then you remember a few seconds later, who was the ketchup? I got the ketchup. And thank goodness I remembered, because this happens to me more times than I can count. And often I've thought to myself, should I be concerned about this? Well, it turns out these small memory lapses that we have as we're aging are actually a part of the aging process. But what is a little more concerning, however, is if I didn't know what the refrigerator was and why my keys were in there. And that's a big concern. And the big difference between the natural little small memory lapses and not knowing why your keys are in the refrigerator is the difference between, I just messed up, sorry. The signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's and a natural aging process. And the reason why I became so passionate about speaking on Alzheimer's and the prevention of Alzheimer's happened totally by accident. You see, a couple of years ago, I was reading through my lab results. And I saw something on there that I'd never seen before. And it really took me by surprise. In fact, actually, I had to stop and I had to sit down. I actually became a little flush, and my heart started pounding like it is now. And what I saw was just unbelievable to me. I found out that I have one of the risk factors that puts me at 40% increased risk for Alzheimer's disease. And I just couldn't believe it. It's like a proverbial cosmic 2x4 had just hit me in the face. And then I said, what the hell am I going to do about this? I had no idea what I was going to do. Alzheimer's doesn't run in my family. My dad lived a large, full life until 93. My mom is still alive at 88, lives on her own, high functioning. I'm like, where did this come from? So I was pretty much in denial for, it seemed like a very long time, many months. And then I said, wait a second. What do I do? What have I always done when I don't know anything? And I dove into the literature, into the books, into the scientific data to say, what can I do about this? And I need an answer. And oh, by the way, how come my doctor never pointed this out to me? It was just beyond me. So there I went. I started down the literature track. I looked at the scientific journals. I read the books, looking for the answers to how I can prevent, potentially, my own demise. And what I found out was that, you know, this gene that I have, and we all have it, it just kind of runs on a spectrum. I just happen to be lucky enough to have the one that puts me at higher risk. So what I found out is this gene itself, this APOE4 gene, does not alone determine my fate, and nor would it yours if you found out you had it. I learned that there's a term called epigenetics, and we have the ability to turn our genes on and off like a light switch. So we can turn on our good genes and we can turn off the bad genes, all by the lifestyle choices, that we make every single day. In fact, sometimes that's 3 times a day by what we're putting in our mouths. I said, yes, this is some good information. I can get excited about this. I felt like I had some power, and I could start down a path of implementing some of these ideas that I got from the scientific literature. And so that's exactly what I did. So today I want to share with you the process that I came up with, and it's an acronym using BRAIN. But before we get into the how, I want to tell you a few little small statistics about Alzheimer's. Currently, it's the 6th leading cause of death in the US. And every 65 seconds, a new patient is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So that's about 1,329 people in August, okay? And about 485,000 people by the end of 2018. And the numbers are only continuing to go up. And in the scientific literature, we do know, actually after about 30 or 40 years of research, that there's a strong correlation between our obesity epidemic, our diabetes epidemic, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, not to mention sleep apnea and depression and head trauma, all correlated to adding to the risk for dementia or Alzheimer's. In fact, there's one population in Loma Linda, California. They're called the Seventh-day Adventists, and they actually have the longest living lives and are part of the blue zones, if you haven't heard of them. But they have the lowest risk for almost all chronic disease, and they live about 10 years longer than the average population in the US. Pretty remarkable. And they've been studied extensively. And lastly, there is no cure for Alzheimer's. If you currently have Alzheimer's, or you're caring for a patient or a parent with Alzheimer's, or a patient, there is no cure. So what's the best prevention? What's the best cure is prevention. And so I came up with, as a result of my experience from reading all these journals and talking to people and talking to other professionals, I came up with an acronym called BRAIN. And BRAIN stands for, and we can use BRAIN in the process of preventing this mind-robbing disease and looking to a brighter, more glorious future with our family and our friends, while increasing our brain size and our capacity in our brain. And I see I'm at 10 minutes, so should I stop?
Do you want to stop?
Yeah,
Are you gonna
well, I'll
stop?
just leave it at that. Because
Okay.
then it goes into brain, and then
Okay.
then talking about brain. So,
Okay.
wow, that took me a long time to get
Well,
there.
but remember, you took a couple of minutes as we were kind of figuring out the context.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
so that
okay.
was technically an 8-minute speech, so.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't how I practiced it.
It's okay. That's all right.
It's okay.
All right.
It's my first time without notes, so.
Good job.
Great job.
Great job.
Great job.
Oh my God, I just like freaked myself out.
Yeah.
I would tell you how many times I talked to my dog the past couple of days,
Yeah.
gave this presentation.
Speakers' dogs are the smartest animals on the planet, right? So.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
real quick, tell us what it is, because we all gotta know.
I'm sorry, what?
Brain.
Oh, brain. Yes, it's for, the B is for be still, the R is for rest, the A is for activity, the I is for interest and interaction, and the N is for nutrition.
That's awesome.
And then so for each of those, I just give a little quick little thing on, throw in like for activity, we can relate that to, it's been dubbed the Miracle Grow for the brain. What we know what Miracle Grow does, that when we give it to our plants, it feeds them and they blossom and grow. And so.
And how long is your talk normally?
I'm gonna give it Monday night actually, and I've got 20 minutes
Okay.
to slide it all in 20 minutes on Monday night.
So same place I'm gonna start. First of all, my mom is not Alzheimer's dementia, but I'm a caregiver, so I deal with that every day. If you've got 20 minutes, your structure is no more than a 5-minute opening. It's like 10 minutes of content, if not 15, and a 5-minute closing or whatever. And then if you want Q&A, there's gotta be time built in there.
Okay.
Okay, because you can't do it at 8 or 10-minute opening and
Yeah.
write down 5 pieces of content with examples or something to support them.
Got it.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's really good information, there's good stories. It's just, again, the opening. Now, if you've got an hour keynote or something, you've got time to build that up to get people in.
Right.
My first thing that I wrote is just really it's so much easier to create a talk when you know who your market is. That doesn't mean they will always be in the room, but speak like they are.
Okay.
Okay, so just get really clear on who your market is. It doesn't mean your market won't branch out. I speak on follow through and performance and how to help people work best. I work with adults in business. I get called in to speak to parents all the time because the topic is the same. But I became known for the topic, and then it'll pull you, and then it doesn't necessarily matter. Your topic is there.
Okay.
So it just helps you, I think, then you're not worried about, I don't know who it is. You are a health and lifestyle expert.
Yeah.
Coaching is a modality you use to get to the end.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're all too caught up in this term coaching, and we've all trained and done everything, and I have too, but really, you go to a coach, and think about this, you go to a coach who has experience or expertise in the place you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't go to a marketing coach if you're trying to learn about how to be a caregiver for Alzheimer's, right?
Right.
Coaching is the modality, it's how we work with people, it's one of our tools. And
Gotcha.
again, claim your title and your expertise,
Okay.
right? So you said this happened to me. I would have preferred this is happening to me.
Oh.
Like I'm living this.
I'm living that. Oh, yeah.
And I would even say we went from the pantry to the ketchup. Oh my God, I do this 50 times a day. Pantry to the ketchup, totally got that. And then of course my next thought was, what's the thing we all do is where are my keys?
Right.
So make that joke. You go in every day, you put your keys in the same place and they're not there, and you find them, and then go to the refrigerator, because all of a sudden you jump to your keys in the refrigerator. And we all knew what you were talking about, but pull us in there where we're all nodding with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done
okay.
that, been there 100 times.
Right,
My
right,
glasses
right.
and they're on my head.
Yeah.
The person who's on the phone going, I can't find my phone.
Ah.
You know, and make fun of that, how we're not present, the
Right.
brain's not connecting to what's going on.
Right.
It's just, again, humor, y'all. You don't have to be humorous, you don't have, I am no comedian. But you gotta pull those things in, because if we're not a caregiver, and if we're not, maybe we're just in the room, but we can totally relate to that, and we can all, that makes us go, oh, that could be me. So even if I'm thinking there's no history on this, well, I don't know, that doesn't relate to me, now I'm like, oh, well, that could be me. because I do
Exactly,
that.
yeah, or my
Right.
phone,
And it's
or,
just, they're just such universal things right now, so it's just a good little transition piece
Okay.
in there. When you said I just messed up, sorry. This is the gift of stories. We don't know your story. We're not in a position to tell you your story is right or wrong. Just keep going. We know the difference.
right,
We don't. So just do own it. And again, try really hard not to apologize. Just keep going. And it's okay to go, oh my God, I got so excited. I forgot. Let me. And
wait, I'm having a moment.
yeah. Right there.
That was
There
very
you go.
short.
And that is what I'm talking about.
That was
Witty-
so funny.
Witty humor in the moment.
Right.
Use what's in the room. And
Yeah.
acknowledge what's happening. See, it just happened right there.
Right.
One of the tricks we always teach is note cards. You got your highboy table or whatever, your bottle of water, and to Keller's point, you use that. That's not there just in case, gee, I'm really dying of thirst. That's a pause, that's a change in, I'm gonna change topics, or I'm gonna make another point. And it's also, what was my next point, as I pick up my water and take a sip,
That's great.
right?
And you keep the notes by the water?
There's actually a TED Talk where he talks
So
about,
watch, and this is
his
something
memory
Larry
memory.
does, and he's brilliant at it. And he pauses great, and he walks to their side to make a point, to change a point. I know if you guys saw John Mullador when he spoke a year ago, August, he talked about how to use the stage based on how the brain picks up information. I don't know if that's posted anywhere.
What's his
but
name?
John Mullador, he was the president 2 years ago of NSA. Okay, so I want to get on. When you said, when you sat down, so I was kind of torn. I like the sitting, I love the side. Like, weren't you all right there, like, oh man? And at the same time, you were low. And so it just depends on where you are in the room. Play with that with every room you're in, because I liked the impact of it, and at the same time, I didn't want to have to find you among everybody else. So I was struggling with that. But I loved the sigh and kind of the shoulder slump and the like, I don't fit the profile, or I don't fit whatever. And then when you said, so I did what anybody else did, whatever, I needed answers. I did what I always do. I dove into the data, and I wanted you to go, I Googled it. Right? Again, find the humor. You're on a subject that's incredibly hard for people that are going through this. I mean, my friends, we joke, we got a Moms Whining About Moms Club. Because we're all in this place. And it's hard. It's hard. So pull the humor into like I watch it. Again, keep pulling us in. And the minute if somebody says, I Googled it, I got on the internet, we're all like, oh God, now it's a death wish, right? We all know the worst thing to do. Again, so take what's universal in the room. So that we are all with you. Right? Then you said something, and I want to know, I don't know if anybody else knows, and there was this gene APO4, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what was that? So play that, APO4, whoever knew those letters and one number could have such an effect on my life? I had to like that. I'm serious, pull it,
Those little things.
It's the little tweaks that pull the audience with you. And then you said, I said, yes, I can get excited about this. I was like, well, then be excited. I said, yes, there's a way. And then when you did the numbers, like really stressed, I don't remember if I got this right, 485,000 people.
right.
Like really, let us take that in before you move past it, right? You gave this story, when you pull to the blue zones, be very mindful of taking us someplace where we don't have an understanding. Just nix that. Talk about, forget, I do know what you're talking about, but I went, wait a minute, I read that study. I'm picturing these little blue circles. Just delete that, it's not necessary. Because then people either want to know, or it creates kind of, anytime we have to go inside to figure something out, you're losing as far as paying attention. And then I got to the end with the brain, and I just wanted to know what that was. So I thought it was good. Watch you kind of dance.
She's a
sway,
dancer.
dance. She's a dancer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be.
That's okay, it's something I always have to work on too.
Oh, so is this back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of to what Keller was saying, and also keep in mind that find out all you can, if you can, and address the setup of the room up front. Know what the room's gonna look like before you go in. And then ask if, well, do we have this room? Or I went to do a thing one time and it was tables, teacher, I think it's the one you were at, teacher style tables. It was so the wrong setup for what I wanted to create in the space. And the speaker can design the room for the setup they want. And for that one, within 20 minutes, that hotel switched it to rounds and there was a lot of interaction and all that. So just, yeah, in here, because I saw you walk and you were trying to make a comment. And just know that your normal setup isn't going to be like this. So it's good to keep in mind, and Keller's totally right. You don't just, you have to your walking needs to be purposeful and intentional.
Yeah, gotcha.
It doesn't need to look like it is.
Yeah.
But then I don't want y'all stressed about it and you're like, oh, I need this, because this is not your normal setup.
Yeah.
So, and I thought you have such a warm presence for what you talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I can really get that, wow. Yeah. And I also have a lot of people to hook you up with, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We still have about 4 minutes, so who else wants to weigh in?
It's like my dog didn't give me any feedback
I
last night.
You fed him, that's why. Yeah.
Judy, I would
Steve?
love when you said what the health at the beginning, that you repeat that because at the end,
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like you're saying what the hell.
What the hell?
But I heard health, and
Yeah.
I think that would be worth repeating, that you say what the hell.
Okay.
Yes. So they get it, that it's the word health.
Health, not what the hell.
Health, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Steve?
You know, when Cricket asked you what brain meant at the end, like you just became real.
Yes.
You know, you were just natural.
Oh.
So think about that when you're presenting.
Yeah.
So are y'all, just let me find this, when you write out your talks, are you kind of memorizing them and trying to go off script, or I don't know what you're taught, so.
I think that's what's so hard. I'm like, I know this stuff like the back of my hand, and then I'm trying to, for me, I'm memorizing this script, trying to remember what comes next, what
Okay, I
comes
don't want
next.
you to memorize anything as the.
And that's where, I'm thinking, for me, I'm thinking ahead. For me to stand up and just go for it, it would be like, let me have it.
So we'll
You
talk
know.
about that in Q&A, I don't want to take up any more time, but y'all remind me about that, okay?
Okay.
I'll forget, right?
Yeah, all right,
I
so.
will remind you, because
I'm gonna make a comment to piggyback on that, because I've never seen you this nervous.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? What's here with you right now?
I think it was my second page of my talk. I was like, I kept messing it up of looking at my written out talk. Yeah.
Okay.
As opposed to just walking in and going, you know what happened to me one day? I found out.
And that would be great, what you just did.
Yeah, that is kind of my
Boom.
let me just have a little conversation.
Have y'all ever seen Martha Lanier do her talk? I don't know if she's doing it anymore.
Who is this?
Martha Lanier, she used to be really, really big in NSA. Her first talk I saw at Georgia Coaches probably 10 to 15 years ago. And they introduce her and she walks up and she just starts like she's in the middle of a conversation. All of a sudden you go, oh wow, she started. And she talks about something about, being nervous, but I wasn't as nervous as when my son made me fly or drop out of a plane or whatever. And all of a sudden you realize she's in her talk.
Oh,
Like,
that's great. Wow.
Yeah, that's the difference in kind of and this is what we're all working towards, is that presence and knowing the stage, and so again, we'll get to the memorizing piece. And
Yeah, it was really like that second page. I was like, and I was still going through it, like walking the dog this morning, talking, and I'm like, but I was thinking of the next line, versus this. How do I make that authentic?
so as someone who talks about the brain, what does that do to your brain when you're doing that?
Oh, it stresses me out, which
It
is
also-
shrinking my
it
brain.
also- so one of the things it does in a woman is your voice goes up.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend who calls it your head bubble, or like your body bubble or something. Your voice goes up when you're in your head. If you've memorized, your eyes go up and you're looking through your page. But again, now you're thinking and you're speaking, and you got to be able to control what's going on in both places. And it's a gift and a curse, because I do it all the time, and luckily to this day I haven't messed it up and said the wrong thing coming out of what I'm thinking. But again, what you're talking about, it's so important for you to realize, my brain is wandering,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm not really present. I'm trying to be
Yeah.
present, but I'm also trying to memorize these 5 pieces of paper.
So if I could just offer a couple of things. One,
Yeah.
I cannot do a memorized speech. It's just not part of my natural state. And I struggle finding the right words sometimes when I'm just talking in conversation. So I have to have just an outline and then key phrases that I know I will come back to over and over. And the memorization comes from doing it over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't come just from looking at the paper and memorizing exactly how the words are said. So it's better to be you and comfortable than
'Cause it
have
feels-
it perfect, because you're the only one who knows it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just, I'll just offer that as from my perspective, it's not something I can do, I've tried. But practice is something I can do, and memorization comes from practice.
Okay.
Okay,
Time, right?
that's time.